Alright guys, I've kind of waffled around on the idea of shooting this video, but let's go ahead and dive into it, shall we? Guys, welcome back to this episode of Rolling with T-Bone. As we're rolling down the road on Blue Moon, like I said in the opener, I kind of have waffled on the idea of shooting this video. I hope the audio's coming in good. I am on the open face setup today. First off, I want to say from the entire Rolling with T-Bone family that we're sending prayers and good thoughts to the folks out there in New Mexico. A lot of you may not know, some of you may know that about the Memorial Day shooting that happened out in New Mexico. And I've had a couple of conversations over the last week about this. I wasn't sure if I wanted to make a video on it, to be honest with you, but you know, let's give it a shot. Let's try to make a video on it. Let's see if I can kind of relay what it is I'm thinking, because I've been watching all this footage on this, the way it happened, what went down, and you know, like I say, we sending prayers and good thoughts, you know, to everyone out there in New Mexico that has been affected by this, you know, senseless act. You know, it's a senseless act. It shouldn't have happened. Of course, I'm speaking about the gunfight between the water dogs and the banditos out in New Mexico. Just a scary situation, guys. It really is. And it's a bad situation that looks bad on all bikers. But I want to try to break this down and see if I can make it make sense to someone who may not even be in the culture at all. I'm going to speak about motorcycle club culture and then motorcycle culture. There is a difference. Of course, the motorcycle club culture is the subculture of the motorcycle culture. In the motorcycle culture, there was always an understanding from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, what the word protocol meant. Now, I'm 46-year-old. I can remember the motorcycle club scene and culture of the 90s. I have been in a couple of clubs, so I don't have a whole lot of authority to speak about clubs, but I do have a lot of authority when it comes to motorcycle culture, because at 46-year-old, I learned how to ride a motorcycle when I was 8-year-old. By the time I was 10, 11, 12-year-old, I was out on the street riding motorcycles with my dad, who was a biker. Club culture used to be the dominant part of motorcycle culture, period. And there's always top 1%er clubs that are talked about. I'm not going to mention any of their names because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to misspeak or have anybody to think that I'm misspeaking. I could tell you about the 1%er club. I know next to nothing about their inner workings. When it comes to the motorcycle club culture, I know pretty well much what everybody else sees. But I can speak about motorcycle culture. Now, some of you guys and gals that have been with me from the very beginning, y'all have heard me say before that where we come from, it used to be very taboo to ride motorcycles. The culture, motorcycle culture, started changing in the 90s. especially around about the end of 96, 97, 98, 99, right at the end of the 90s. Because you had the Speed Channel, you had HBO and Cinemax that were going out to these motorcycle culture events such as Daytona, Sturgis, and all of a sudden you had Speed Channel was posting, doing a lot of chopper content, motorcycle content. Then Discovery Channel got on board. You started getting American Chopper. Jesse James came along. You started getting Motorcycle Mania. The culture for the first time at the end of the 90s, motorcycle culture for the first time maybe in an ever, or at least the 40s, since the 40s or the 50s, motorcycle culture had lined itself up to become more dominant than motorcycle club culture, if that makes sense. Now, companies like Harley Davidson, Honda, Yamaha, you had Victory showed up, Indian reemerged, and they started pushing for a different kind of rider. They wasn't pushing for that kind of rider that was with 20 or 30 of his brothers. They were all wearing the same vest. They all had the same, all had the same patches sewn on their vest. They started pushing for the $250,000 a year doctor, lawyer, executives for multi-million-dollar companies. The weekend warriors is what we used to call them. So when that happened, for the first time, motorcycle culture came back to the forefront. It was again about the events, going to Daytona, going to Sturgis. They were trying to change the perception of people who ride motorcycles, saying that not everybody on a motorcycle is in a dangerous outlaw club, if that makes sense. They were pushing motorcycle culture, not club culture. It became more about the motorcycle and not the people riding the motorcycle. So it became more attractive to the weekend warrior, the guy who was working in the office 5 days a week. Now all of a sudden he could buy a motorcycle, and him and his buddies could put on their matching jackets that say Harley Davidson on them, and they could take off on the weekend and go to their favorite bar, and they were weekend bikers. But the motorcycle culture exceeded the motorcycle club culture, meaning that all of the advertisement that went into being in the motorcycle culture paid off. It paid dividends. You were no longer perceived as a dirty biker because you rode a motorcycle, because now all of the citizens and civilians were riding motorcycles. So when that happened, what you got out of it was, now you had a new generation coming up. Gen Z, or Gen X, Generation X, we were really the last old school motorcycle culture, motorcycle club culture, understanding group, if you want the honest truth about it. Early birth millennials understood it a little bit, but late birth millennials and Generation Z know absolutely nothing about it. They don't care to know anything about it. They know that the TikTok videos and the Instagram videos are showing these guys and gals that are buying these diners like Blue Moon. They're raising them up and they're riding wheelies on them. They're doing donuts. They're drifting down the street. Generation Z has a whole different culture than the millennial and Generation X did. The culture has completely changed. I.e. me sitting here recording this video going down the road. The motorcycle culture has changed and it's evolved. Okay, now, I said the word evolved. Here's where I think the discrepancy comes from. With the evolution of the motorcycle culture, the motorcycle club culture has not evolved. They are still stuck on the old protocol ways of doing things. Their rules, their rules, their rules. Okay, where that comes into being a problem now with the new motorcycle culture, these kids that are riding these Harley Davidsons that mom and dad went and bought for them, or that they saved up their money and bought for themselves, they don't care about your club. They don't care about what's on your back. They don't care about what territory you own. All they know is that they paid their money, they learned how to ride their motorcycles, and they want you to leave them alone. And, dare I say, you're going to leave them alone. That's what this is all coming down to. Motorcycle culture has outgrown club culture. So I promise you, mommy and daddy who work in big corporations, their money don't run out. Okay, so that is a long way to get around to what happened in New Mexico on Memorial Day weekend. You have a small town of 500 people. You have 20 to 25,000 people that turn up there to celebrate the bike week that town offers them. That's how that town makes its money every year, is by the bikers who ride their motorcycles there, and they buy from the vendors, they buy from the local stores. Okay, so the problem now is you've landed at this place where this was a very isolated incident between the banditos and the water dogs. I'm not going into the rights and wrongs. I'm not here trying to reset anybody's moral compass. The problem is innocent people were hurt. Now that town, as already said, the mayor of that town, she has already said there will be no more motorcycle events in their town. Meaning next year, there may be a Memorial Day event, but people on motorcycles are not going to be welcome. And you can't be mad at the mayor of the town for doing that, because it's her job to protect her citizens. So, what does this all mean? Basically what it means is the motorcycle club culture is going to have to evolve. All of us who are paying attention know why a motorcycle club claims territory, why they claim a whole state as their territory. Us older folks, we get that. We understand it. We know what the driving force behind that is, if you will. These new kids don't care, because they're American citizens. That's the first thing they're going to tell you. By the so constitutionally they can go anywhere in this country they want to go. They have that right. They have the right to do it on their motorcycle. So when you come up and you say, hey, you can't have that vest on your jacket, or that patch on your jacket, or you can't go into this bar because it belongs to so-and-so. That's where you're going to have the button of heads, because these kids are going to say, hey, no, you're not going to tell me what to do. That's what they're doing now. I'm not just fantasizing about something that's going to happen in the future. That's happening right now. And what can you do? You can either evolve, grow with the culture, grow in the times, or go the way of the dinosaur. And you know, it's a choice. It's always a choice. But me and a friend of mine, Raymond, was talking this morning, brother of mine, and as I told him then, there is a need for motorcycle clubs. There's a need for men and women to get together with like-minded people and enjoy each other's company, the fellowship. And you see it big out of ex-military. But it's really for everyone. It's not just about military. It's for everyone. So there is a need for motorcycle clubs, and I believe in motorcycle clubs. If you'll scroll down a long ways, I actually made a video some years back about the motorcycle club culture. I don't think motorcycle clubs will ever just completely disappear, because there is a need for them. There's a want for them. People want them. But if you're in a club, you can't run around saying, hey, we're a club, we're not violent, we're not this, we're not that, and then blow up something or shoot somebody. Eventually, people like me who are independent, who's not in a club, but we understand clubs, it then becomes hard for us to defend you as a club and say, yeah, they're harmless, they're this, they're that, when you're getting on the national news for gunfights. We can't defend that no more. We then, as citizens and civilians, have to say, okay, this has to stop. And that's where the world's at right now. These motorcycle clubs feel like everyone is ganging up on them and attacking them, and they're getting hit from every side. Well, you are, because you know, you got to take the responsibility for it and understand it when we say you brought it on yourself. And this is beginning to be something, guys, it's not just Memorial Day weekend. These shootings and stuff have been going on actually for a little while. I kind of dug in, did my research, and found out about shootings I didn't even know about. Mainly because I've been so busy I didn't have time to check everything out. But it's hard to defend it when it's a every week or every 2 week thing, and your club name is always the one being mentioned in connection with some kind of violence, if that makes sense. That's what you've got to stop, because you can't have the perception that you're good guys when in reality you're on the news all the time because of a violent situation. And that's you know, that's when people will say, well, I know a lot of people who ride motorcycles and they're not out here shooting people. It's hard to argue with that. But like I said, I'm not an authority on anything. I don't try to be. I don't do biker news. But anyway, guys, that's just kind of my 2 cents on everything. Just to hope everybody's enjoying the pretty weather. starting to get toward that end of the spring rainy season that kind of kicks in North Georgia. Usually you start getting the heat build up and the humidity goes up, and then you start getting them late evening showers. But y'all let me know, are you enjoying everything that I'm doing, or is our content still being good? Trying new things, that's kind of what I want to do. Speaking of evolving with things, I kind of start feeling like sometimes that I get into a rut and I start looking for ways to evolve my channel and grow and kind of shake it up a little bit and change it up, while at the same time still trying to stay true to the core of rolling with T-Bone. But thank y'all for coming in, watching. Remember, like, comment, share, subscribe. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. But if you're thinking about subscribing, guys, watch a couple of my videos. Make sure that I'm for you. And I'll be posting pretty soon what the next bike's going to be, what the next giveaway bike's going to be for Forgotten Angels. Rumor is that it's going to be a Sportster that's kind of halfway built into a Dirtster, but we don't know for a fact. But hopefully by maybe tomorrow evening we'll kind of know what we're doing, and I'll let y'all know. But remember, y'all can still go get your ticket to win the house, which is the grand prize. But all right, guys and gals, what are y'all going to do? Stop or go? But anyway, guys, y'all remember to do all that stuff: like, share, comment, subscribe. And I appreciate y'all for coming along on this ride. Like I said, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or anything. I just, you know, everybody's got their opinion, and like I said, this is my profile, you know, my platform. It's kind of the way I see it happening from the outside looking in. But y'all take care, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Until the next time, I'm T-Bone, and this has been Rolling with T-Bone.